So when we hear stories like Telvin Osborne, it forces us to have a difficult but necessary conversation. So this isn't just about one man. This is about history, patterns, and the way white supremacy still affects us today in the Black community. This is about self-hate, internalized racism, and the way Black men have been conditioned to reject their own in favor of something that they deem better, their preference, as we say. I am in no way trying to get into no gender war. That is not me, but I just wanted to have this conversation about him. And in no way am I caping for him because, girl, I ain't caping for him either. So today we're going to break this all the way down. We'll first go into details of Telvin Osborne's tragic situation, and then we'll compare it to Christian Obumseli's case, if I'm saying that right, who was another Black man who lost his life at the hands of a preference. But it's not just about them. Like I said, this is a deep-rooted issue in our community that stems from hundreds of years of racism and colonialism and all those isms and things like that. And so by the end of this video, I want us to really think, why do so many Black men, especially when they gain some sort of status or wealth, they believe that they're leveling up means dating outside of their race, and why does society reinforce that idea? So let's get into it. Now, what's significant about Telvin's case is that, of course, there's racial dynamic. And the woman involved was a white woman who was his preference. And he had a lot of things to say about how he loved his white woman. And as we'll see in a moment, this plays into a much bigger pattern. His death has brought up questions about how did he view Black women. Of course, Black Twitter, we found the receipts, and I'm going to show, his tweets that he said about Black women. It was very disgusting, very low vibrational, very gut.
Sheriff Alfonso Williams announced the arrest of Hannah Cobb, who is facing a charge of involuntary manslaughter in the death of 30-year-old Telvin Osborne. Investigators say Osborne was found Sunday morning inside a home on 4 Points Road in Keysville with a gunshot wound to the chest. Incident reports say Cobb said that while she was checking her gun, it went off, hitting Osborne in the chest. Telling authorities she thought the gun was in safety mode while she was checking it. Sheriff Williams says that's not the case, and this is not being ruled as accidental. Osborne was pronounced dead at a local hospital.
Through this investigation and interviews with family members, it is evident that both families are deeply concerned for the well-being of all parties involved. The case is truly heartbreaking, and we're committed to treating the victim and the families with the utmost respect.
Sheriff Williams says they are still investigating the case.
Oh, let me guess, because y'all Black bitches know y'all ain't shit. Ooh, sweet baby Jesus. Huh? Yeah, they don't want milk. They don't want milk. They don't want milk. I tried to grieve in peace. Motherfucker calling me every 30 seconds. Hey, man, you see what this is about? I gotta tell these people, hey, man, y'all stay off Facebook, man. Oh, I say it again. Damn right, my cousin said he'll fuck a white dog before he one of you Black miserable bitches. That was terrible. Had your duckers in a row, he probably would fuck with you. Ain't nobody time you drummified bitches. Look, this is exactly what he was talking about. This better yet, y'all showed the prime example why he said he'll do what he do.
And that's just who he was, right? And so it has me questioning, how did he view himself, and did his relationship choices put him in danger? And obviously it did. So y'all, take a look at these tweets, and it's a whole mess and a half. Now, let's hold on to these questions as we look at another similar case with Christian Obumseli.
All right. So what do you want to say?
I want to be like, I want to be like exonerated, I guess, of like anything wrong. And I want him, okay, the police are here. I want a restraining order against Christian Obumseli.
We don't issue those.
Because,
those
no, I'm
to
serious.
courts.
Can I do that? Where
you have to go to court. You have to go to downtown.
But how can I make
petition.
myself first? Because I know him and he would do it. How can I make myself first?
You got to get there first.
75 Northwest for a second.
Listen.
Okay, they're listening.
Who's on the phone with you?
Just my dad.
Okay. Well, let me.
Which I think is reasonable.
Let me explain to you something with your dad on the phone, so you could hear me. You asked me, how can I get a restraining order against him? I answer you, we don't issue those. That's through court. You asked me, I need to get one before him. I told you, the only way is for you to get to court. Then you asked me, is he on the way already? I asked you, I don't even know how he looks like. You understand? It's your questions that are making much of an.
I am. Right now, like, I have not always been a victim, but like right now, I'm a freaking victim in the situation. I'm scared to go downstairs and walk my dogs. I just walked him and I told him, you don't have a chance. And now, all of a sudden, this is all happening.
What's his name?
Christian Obumseli.
Christian?
Please, just like don't get me kicked out of my own apartment.
We just want him getting. We just want him.
I'm scared. I'm scared of him.
Take her up to the apartment. Okay. They're gonna take her up to the apartment. We're gonna go ahead with this guy's on it, so
So with Christian, his case is very similar as it pertains to Telvin, because in Christian's case, he was a black man as well who lost his life to a preference in a very, very violent way. But his case did not just spark mourning, it also sparked debate. Mourning in regards of like his family. So as it pertains to like with Christian, he was in a relationship with this girl named Clinty, and basically Courtney is alleged to have killed him. And so the black community reaction was complicated, right? So many people weren't rushing to defend him because of his history of disparaging black women, rather, right? So I'm going to show you some of his tweets where he mocked black women and said that he only dates white women and that black women are loud, aggressive, whatever the case may be. Very similar to Telvin, very disgusting, very ugly, very negative, you know, and no, like, and I feel like a lot of people are like, well, it's his tweets, they were so old, but it shows the type of person he was in the character. Like, you know, why defend someone who wouldn't defend us, right? So this is where it gets deep. So Christian rejected black women, and when he died, many black women rejected him. And so some people felt no sympathy, saying, well, this is what you wanted, while others did point out that regardless of his dating preference, he was still a victim. So the question is, why do we see this pattern? Why do so many black men seek validation through white or non-black women? And why does this often end in disaster for some, right? Which brings us to the real issue at hand. It's self-hate. I mean, we've had this conversation time and time again, right? It's self-hate, and that's just really what it boils down to. So I just want to be clear that this isn't about bashing interracial relationships. I think we've all, for the most part, if you know, seen the movie, I think it was Loving versus Virginia, you know, it's nothing to bash interracial relationships. You know, it was illegal at one point in the 60s, but it is now legal because of the case Loving versus Virginia. But ask an honest question here. Why does love often so look like rejection of blackness? Or why does preference so often mean anything but black? This isn't just a coincidence. This is a direct result of hundreds of years of conditioning of white supremacy and anti-black propaganda that have seeped so deeply into the subconscious mind that some of us don't even recognize it. So, to understand where we are today, we have to go back in time in history. So let's just talk about the historical roots of self-hate in the black community, because this is not a new topic. This has been something that is ingrained in a lot of us for like generations. And so I want to just get into the historical roots as it pertains to self-hate, right? So during slavery, black men and women were deliberately divided, whereas white slave masters knew that if we stood together, we would be stronger. So they did everything they could to break us apart. Black men were stripped of their ability to protect their women and children. They were beaten, they were lynched and humiliated in front of their families to make them feel powerless. Meanwhile, the white slave master would essay and exploit black women, whereas our ancestors would birth children who were sometimes given privileges over dark-skinned black people. And from there, the house slave versus field slave mentality was developed, right? So the lighter your skin, the closer you were to whiteness and the more access you were given. This wasn't just about labor, this was also about status. Black people were taught that the closer you were to white, the better you were. And that mindset didn't just disappear when slavery ended, y'all. It evolved. It became a deeply rooted psychological wound that still influences how a lot of us see ourselves today. Let's fast forward from slavery to Jim Crow. So we saw the same divisions, right? Black people who were mixed or had fair skin often got better opportunities. The paper bag test, the good hair privileges, right? All of these things that were reinforced this idea that being fully black was a disadvantage. This did not just affect how black people were treated, it affected how we treated ourselves, and it created a deep-seated insecurity, a desire to escape blackness, and a longing to be closer to whiteness, even if we did not realize it. So, going from Jim Crow, I want to bring it up to today's time and how a lot of this is affecting us and things that we are seeing in the media. So, if you think this is just history, we need to take a look at the media today. Who do we see as the ideal black man's partner? When a black man makes it, whether it's in sports, entertainment, or business, who is often by his side? More often than not, we see that it is a non-black woman, right? So Hollywood and the media definitely plays a major role in shaping our beauty standards, as we know. So think about it. When was the last time you saw a dark-skinned black woman as the romantic lead in a blockbuster movie? How often are we portrayed as loud, aggressive, or undesirable? Meanwhile, if a black man is with a white or racially ambiguous woman, it is seen as a status symbol, and it is proof that he's basically leveled up. But let's also talk about social media, because that's where this conditioning really shows itself. Black men will go viral for posting videos saying things like, I just prefer white women, or black women are too aggressive, or I can never date a black woman. They don't know how to be submissive, right? Feminine and friendly, I think is the term that they use. So these ideas, where are they coming from? Because they don't come from us. They come from a system that has told us over and over again that whiteness is better, that loving a black woman is settling, that being with a white woman is winning. And a lot of black men, whether they realize it or not, have internalized that message. here's the truth. These so-called preferences are not just personal choices. They are also the result of deep psychological conditioning rooted in white supremacy. And until we unpack that, we will continue to see cases like Telvin and Christians. Now, let's zoom out for a second, because this isn't just about black men versus black women issues. This is about a system that has been designed to keep us divided. White supremacy thrives when we are at war with ourselves, which is why I said in the beginning of the video, I am not for this gender war conversation or topic or anything like that. That is not the purpose of this video. I just wanted to talk about the other side of it besides like bashing him, which is whatever. But I just wanted to talk about why does he think that, right? So let's also talk about the real reason why white supremacy pushes this narrative. If black men and women don't build strong families, we don't build what, Dr. Umar? Generational wealth. If black men date out, their wealth often doesn't get passed down to black children. This is not just about love. This is also about power, you guys. And so let's just look at history. And every time black people built something powerful together, it was torn apart. Black Wall Street, what happened to that? It was burned to the ground. The Civil Rights Movement, it was infiltrated and also dismantled. And today, instead of needing outside forces to divide us, we've been so conditioned that we do it ourselves. We see each other as the enemy instead of recognizing who the real enemy is. And it's just the history of white supremacy and racism has conditioned our community to be where it's at for the most part with these gender wars. And so the truth is, racism loves this. It loves seeing black men say they don't date black women. How often do you hear white men, Asian men, Hispanic men say that about their own women? I doubt that you have never heard that, or rarely have you ever heard that. If that is what you hear, black men say that more often than not, right? And so the internet is not a real place, because I don't think this is happening in real life, except for like really on the internet when they're saying these things, because I doubt they're going up to women, but whatever. I don't want to get on a tangent. But I just want to say, racism loves seeing black women feel unwanted and unloved, because as long as we are disconnected, we are powerless. And so social media has only made things worse. These conversations aren't happening in secret anymore. They are going viral. That's what I'm saying. Like, all this is on the internet that's being said. It's no longer like, I don't even know, girl. But non-black people are watching. So you have white and Latina influencers building entire platforms off of dating black men. It's treated like a fetish, a trend, a way to gain clout. Meanwhile, black women are ashamed for even speaking up about this issue. If we say anything, we're called bitter. But if a white woman dates a black man, it is celebrated. Do you see the pattern here? We are being manipulated. And the more we fall for it, the more we lose. So what do we do about this? Because talking about the problem isn't enough. We need solutions, right? So first things first is that we need to acknowledge that dating preferences don't come from nowhere. They come from centuries of psychological conditioning that have made us see whiteness as idea in some families in the black community. We have to unlearn this, because it's one thing to date like outside of your race, but to include, say, I only date white women because I can't stand black women. It's a problem. It should be like you love this person for who they are, and you want to be with this person regardless of what their race is and how you may feel about your mom, your sister, whatever, your black mom, your black sister. But the second thing we need to start doing, we need to start celebrating black love. Stop letting social media tell you that your own people are not good enough. Stop believing the lie that being with a black woman is settling, when in reality, it's one of the most powerful things we can do for our community. And third, we have to hold the media accountable. So stop supporting platforms that erase black beauty. Stop engaging with content that degrades black women. Start recognizing that when you are being manipulated. So, in conclusion to all of this, Telvin, Osborne, and Christian Obumseli's stories are tragic. You know, lives were lost, and that's hurtful for the family, right? Regardless of like how ugly of a person they were. But they reveal a much deeper sickness that is in the Black community. And this is a sickness that has been caused by racism, that has been reinforced by media, and upheld by some of our own people in the Black community. Because we do have to do better, but we also have to heal. And that starts with loving ourselves. So let me know what you guys' thoughts are in the comments below. Have you seen this pattern in real life? Because I have experienced things where guys like, oh, I don't date dark-skinned girls, I only date lighter-skinned girls. Like I've heard that before, right? So that was my own personal experience, but I don't think I've ever ran into like someone who has said like, oh, ew, screw Black women. You know, these are only conversations I've heard on the internet, right? But never anything in real life. So that's why I'm just like, I find that social media, the media itself is manipulating, and they're pushing through the algorithm these sorts of people as a form of like rage bait or something of the sort to get us to start this whole gender war. And I just want to reiterate, in no way am I caping or defending those two men, because I find them to be absolutely disgusting and deplorable human beings. But, you know, I just wanted to make this video because I just wanted to talk about the other side to all of this, because I know it has been a heavy discussion. So hopefully I don't have to make another video like this, but I did want to talk about it briefly. And I know some of the tweets with Telvin was as recent as December of 2024. So like his family can't use the excuse, oh, this was like 10, 11 years ago. Even though I feel like they have, and I'll insert some clips and videos throughout this video that you'll see, like with his cousin responding, which was very ignorant. He was very ignorant, very disgusting, very low vibrational, very ugly individual in regards to his response, which I get he is grieving, but it's kind of still like, from my understanding, how this all sparked is because a family member put out the information on social media, because they felt like this white woman who basically how can I say this, harmed his cousin, got rid of his cousin, you know, wasn't getting arrested, justice wasn't being done in favor of their cousin. So that's how this all started. My whole thing about this also is like, they had children. So what will that look like? Are they in the custody of DCFS, in the custody of they're probably in the care of their grandparents, but which grandparents? The Black grandparents or the white grandparents? Like, what is happening here, right? Very interesting. Will the grandparents end up getting joint custody of their grandkids? Like, I'm just thinking about all of that. But at the end of the day, lives were lost. It's unfortunate. The family is grieving. They are emotional. They are irate because lives were lost in such a grim way. But it still doesn't change the fact that, you know, this is a person, or these were people who were disgusting human beings who did not respect Black women because they didn't love themselves. They didn't, whatever the case may be. But I can go on and on and on. But I wanted to make this video, and I will see you guys in the next video.